What's going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown, and if you're new here, welcome. So, my previous episode was interesting. I talked about why I hate the Carolina Panthers, and really all of it is because they're a division rival of ours, and I'm just kind of trying to trigger the rival's fan base. And don't worry, I will make a video on why I hate the New Orleans Saints. However, I came across an interesting comment in my Panthers hate video, and it's saying, who is the Falcons' biggest rival outside the NFC South? And that was just such an interesting comment, and I just have to talk about it with you guys. So, here's the rundown. First off, I gotta give a quick shout out to Shane Thompson for commenting this. I just thought it was very interesting, and I want to have a fun conversation that hopefully you guys will find interesting and even agree with. So, who is the Falcons' biggest rival outside of the NFC South? Well, I think the first thing we gotta realize is that we're never gonna have a bigger rival than the New Orleans Saints. It's a division rival. Their fans have always been a bit much, like posting billboards in Atlanta, trolling the Falcons like, okay, just stop. And then they always have been a pretty good team, so especially right now, we're both fighting for that division crown. So the Saints will always be our biggest rivalry. And another thing is that I don't think any team outside of our division is even going to be a bigger rivalry than the Panthers and Bucks. And not that they ever beat us, but we still sometimes go at each other, and they're also just division rivals. But that doesn't mean we don't have any rivalries outside of our division. Any team outside the NFC South is just a low-key rivalry, like nothing super heated, but you can still sense a little bit of anger when they beat us or when they have a successful season. Or vice versa for the opponent's fan base if we were to beat them and we have a successful season. And the first team outside the NFC South that could be the Falcons' biggest rivalry is the Green Bay Packers. This rivalry kind of seems to die out a lot because when they played last year, nobody seemed to talk about it, but the year before, everyone thought this could be a new up-and-coming rivalry. And it seems like NFL fans kind of want this to be a rivalry because it's Matt Ryan versus Aaron Rodgers. Two league MVPs that always light up the scoreboard, so we gotta find out who's gonna end up beating who. And our overall win-loss record against them is pretty close. We're only losing by 2 games. Now, Green Bay has kind of had our number since Matt Ryan joined the league, but they still end up being pretty close games. And also, even if the Packers have had our number, we happen to absolutely slaughter them in the biggest game they ever played together, or at least in recent history. Fun game to watch, by the way, because it seems like those people in the Aaron Rodgers hype train are let down every single year, so it feels good to break their hearts in dominating fashion. But another team I personally feel like is the Falcons' biggest rivalry outside of our division is the Seattle Seahawks. Now, it's not by some landslide, we don't necessarily hate this team, but the reason I think this is a Falcon rivalry is because Dan Quinn used to be a defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks with Pete Carroll. And of course, a coach going head-to-head with a familiar name he's heard of and worked with before, this is obviously going to be pretty fun to watch. Will Dan Quinn coach his Falcons defense to be just as good as the Legion of Boom was? Honestly, probably not as good, but they could come close. Our overall win-loss record is just like the Packers, we're only losing by 2 games. But the difference is that recently, we have had the Seahawks number, and I think we're going to beat them again, by the way, this year. Another thing is that we seem to break their heart in the playoffs, like that one game back in 2012, and that other in 2016. So for Pete Carroll, it sucks to see Matt Bryant kick the Seahawks out of contention, but then it's another to see his former co-worker beat him again a few years later. Oh, and I don't know if this was true or not, it might have been a rumor, but in 2017, when the Falcons beat the Seahawks on a Monday night at Seattle, apparently that was the first home primetime game loss in the Pete Carroll-Russell Wilson era. So I don't know if that says anything, but it's just something I thought I'd mention. Or you could be a little kid here and say, they're both bird teams, which bird team is better? But anyway, moving on. Another team that could potentially be our biggest non-NFC South rivalry is the New England Patriots. I think it's safe to say we all know why we hate this team, but you could also say that Matt Ryan is from Boston College. So it's like, Is the kid from Boston College going to win this game? Or is the Boston NFL QB now going to end up winning? They both always have been consistently good and were able to lead their offense to historic heights. Like the 2016 Falcons offense was historic, and the Patriots 2007 offense was definitely historic. It's like the battle of the best offenses. But I wouldn't say this is our biggest rivalry because Tom Brady has never really lost to us before, and he does not really have a lot of things to hate about us. And also, every team hates the Patriots. So, moving on. This next team maybe will be a surprise, but I think this could actually be an up-and-coming rivalry, and that's with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, excluding the fact that everyone hates the Cowboys, the reason I feel like this could be a rivalry is because, one, in the recent years, we've kind of seemed to take the Cowboys' spot. Like in 2015, Dallas started 2-0, right? And then when they lost to us, they went downhill from there. And in 2016, they were the first seed, but then in the end, the Falcons ended up proving they were the better NFC team all along. 2017, there was a battle on who could make the playoffs. And not only did the Falcons take that 6th seed, but they also frickin' wrecked the Cowboys that year. The only laugh Cowboys fans can have was last year, like, fine, you beat us there. But the other reason on why this could be a rivalry is because of how well balanced both these teams are. So when they play each other, it could be a really good game. Both teams have a great offense, at least on paper, and then Dallas's defense was one of the better ones from last year. So let's see how Atlanta's can be when they're all healthy and with Dan Quinn as defensive coordinator. But this last team in the Cowboys division could also very well be a rival of ours, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. One, you could be a little kid again and say they're both bird teams, but anyway, they both have a balanced roster, and that's not a question because they both have made Super Bowls. So when we play, it could be a really good game. And it seems like the recent times we have played them, they always ended up being good games anyway. Back in 2015, we pulled a huge upset against them, and then admittedly, the 2017 playoff game and the 2018 season opener broke my heart a little bit. But man, if we end up winning to the Eagles this year on our home opener on a Sunday night where everyone is watching, that could spark up a rivalry. It's two really good Super Bowl contending rosters battling it out. By the way, I actually might be at this game, so if you see me and you want to talk some Falcons football, let me know. But first, I gotta see if I can actually spend that much money at 20 years old. But those are some teams that I feel like are kind of low-key rivals of the Falcons. None of them will ever be better than any of our division rivals, especially the Aints. But you never know. Let's just hope we can beat all these teams once we play them.
But that's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But other than that, whether you guys agree or not, please make sure to smash that like button, blow up the comment section, and definitely hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss any weekly content. There's new episodes every Tuesday and Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern, and I will see you guys next Tuesday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Rise up.